I think media helps create an environment where people can experience God. You know, that's our ultimate goal. We want people to come here and encounter God, experience Him. And I think when you combine the lights and the sound and the images and the stories, all that you can do with the media, you know, it really engages people.
I think media can both be used as an outreach tool and as a tool inside the church. You know, as far as an outreach, you send a video out through the web, people watch it. Your members can also use that same tool to catch up on last week's sermon. Say they were out, you know, they were out of town traveling, they were on Thanksgiving break. They can actually catch up with what's going on within the church. It can be used to reach the lost. It can also be used to reach the members inside the church.
I think the role of media in churches today is to provide a relevant experience to those who come to church. People don't want to go to church and have this kind of antiquated experience while they're here. They want something that's relevant to their lives. They see things on TV every single day. Media is such a huge part of life today.
Really, content is king is something you're taught over and over telecommunications wise, and our message never changes, but the way we present it and the way people want to hear it is a big part of how effective the message of hope can be.
You know, in missions they talk about getting to know the culture that you're going to reach, speaking their language, and I think media really is the language of our culture today. It's the way we connect with people. It's the way that I think we even earn some respect, you know, if they come in to worship and you can communicate in a way that they're familiar with, they understand. I think they're a little bit more willing to listen to what we have to say.
I think the church needs to kind of adjust their perception of media. A lot of times churches will see anything new as somewhat suspect, but in the same way that the church back in the day used the printing press and printed the words of God on paper, that hadn't really been done before. Just a way to kind of get the word out and to spread the good news of Jesus. Today we need to use video, we need to use the internet, we need to use all these media tools at our disposal to do the same thing.
Media in the church obviously is more pronounced than it ever has been before, but if you think about the fact that somebody wrote Scripture down at one point in time, I mean, I guess God was the first one to use media when He wrote down the Ten Commandments. And then the new media of the day in Rome was when they wrote it on a scroll. And so now here we are, we can tell people stories, which really provide hope. And then with the broadcast aspect of that as well, you can take that message of hope and put it out quicker than any other form of communication.
I do think there is a danger that, media is a tool, that's really all it is, but you can become too enamored with the tool and forget your bigger purpose of trying to communicate, the message of Jesus. And so it's that balancing act of when is the media serving our purposes and when is it becoming a distraction or it's taking over.
I believe that, God wants us to use the tools that we have, use the different resources that He gives us. Just as He sends us volunteers and just as He sends us a pastor or a music director, He sends us media tools and media resources to reach those people as well.
And I think that's something you have to constantly evaluate and be sensitive to. But I would say for most churches, the far greater danger is not utilizing it enough.
I think any church needs to weigh their needs with media usage. Certainly there are certain demographics that lean more towards being more media connected, and there are certain demographics that don't. Not every church needs 3 video screens and live cameras and things like that, because it may or may not be helpful to that church.
The whole purpose of media, to me, is not necessarily a ministry in itself, it's a ministry to the other ministries.
There's a lot of specific technical training that's required to do it well. You got to do media with excellence or you lose all the advantages, you lose the credibility.
And I think it takes special people to communicate through media or any other way the message of Christ from a Christian perspective and correctly to people who don't understand that.
You do everything as if you're doing it for God. If you're a church of 60 or a church of 600, you do it the same way.
If you lose sight of the message, it doesn't matter what your skills are, and if you love the message and don't have any skills, you can't really help anybody. So the two kind of go hand in hand in my mind.
I really am passionate about people who feel called to be in media ministry. I mean, I can't think of a better way to use your creative gifts than to tell the story of what God's done for us.
It's only going to get better as a useful tool and as people get more and more skilled at producing this sort of stuff.